Nicole Henry here, and I'm super excited for today's topic. So, a lot of you know I have just experienced a miscarriage. We've been having lots of chaos in our life, and I keep getting asked, how are you doing? Take care of you, like take time to process all these things. And it's interesting because people wonder how I can push through things so quickly. Now, here's what I will tell you. There's always things I'm working on. I always have mindset shifts that I need to work on. I'm always understanding which energy and emotions that I need to work through. But here's the thing. I don't have to sit and process forever. I can still move through and I can still take actions towards things as I'm processing. And people keep asking me, how are you doing so well? How are you still creating? How are you still working? And it's because of these things that I'm going to teach you that I think are super crucial for anybody that, number one, owns a business, and number two, anybody that wants to move towards new goals or a new life. Because here's what happens. Sabotage will hit your life, especially when you're moving for a better good. And here's what I tell people, and I don't say this for you to repeat it because I don't want you to manifest it, but here's what I'll tell you. The bigger the goal, the bigger the sabotage. When you first start working towards those goals, you're going to maybe have you're working towards your money goals, and all of a sudden you have all this money saved up, and maybe your car breaks and you have to put all your money towards cars. Or maybe you're saving up for Christmas right now and you're working towards your goals and you're like, oh my gosh, this bill just hit and now I can't pay for Christmas. It starts there. And then as you start to learn the cycles of sabotage, mental, physical, social, how they hit, what you're looking for, I'm really good at seeing patterns and cycles. And so everything that I do in my life is based off patterns and cycles and how do I overcome them faster, because it's impossible to avoid them. And so, like I said, you might start with those smaller sabotages, but as you start to grow, as you start to hit bigger goals, you start having bigger sabotages. I remember, when we first decided to, jump for my husband's dreams, and we sold everything, and he was homeless for a month in Vegas, and I had a 1-year-old, and all this sabotage trying to sell our house, and that felt really big and heavy at the time. And now I look at it, I'm like, that was the biggest blessing we ever had. That's like, that's what made us triple our income. That's what made us, shoot for the stars. And we're not afraid to jump now. We're not afraid to lose it all. We're not afraid to sell it all. And then, as we're working for these bigger, $500,000 goals, $1 million goals, all these things, of course, bigger sabotage is going to hit. In 1 month, you guys, my son had a concussion. My other son had to get his tonsils out. My husband has some weird stuff going on with his health and blood pressure and nervous system, and cannot get rid of the sinus infection, and there's horrible things going on with him. Then I had a miscarriage, and then I woke up this morning and my 2 kids are sick, and I'm like, dude, can I catch a break? But here's the thing, you guys, I'm not afraid of it. It doesn't make me stop. Like, my kids might become busting through today because they're home with me, but guess what? I'm still showing up. I'm still making it happen, because I understand that when you're moving towards light, sabotage and dark is going to try to stop you. And guess what? Sometimes it stops people at the mental and the anxiety, and they're like, it's a sign I should quit, or they just can't handle it anymore, and they just are like, I tap out. I see this a lot within network marketing. They start to go, and then they can't handle the mental sabotage of people telling them no, and the embarrassment and all these things. So some people stop at the mental sabotage. Guess what? If you break through the mental sabotage, you're going to start having physical sabotage. You're going to start getting sick. I remember at one point after we had my second, we were living in a townhouse. The lady randomly decided to sell it. We then had to move on the spot, try to find a place that accepted animals. Moved. My husband, the day he was going to sign on his semi that we bought here in Utah, I got in a car wreck with my kids. My one kid, he had unbuckled his car seat, so his car seat went flying. I broke bones, and I had just had a newborn. And it's like, but guess what? I was in the middle of a Finance Your Destiny course, and I know anytime I do Finance Your Destiny, things like all hell's going to break loose. But here's the thing. Why do I keep doing what I'm doing? Now it's to the level I'm having miscarriages and all these things are happening. And it's like, why do I keep doing what I'm doing? If the reward on the other end wasn't worth it, I wouldn't keep doing this because it can feel so heavy. You guys, right now, mentally, if I bought into it, I want to catch a break, you guys. I want to break. During all of this too, our pipes had frozen and burst, and our well cellar was flooding and all these things, and I don't even know if that's what it's called, but it's like all these things keep happening, you guys. I'm human too, but there's a difference in obstacle mindset and in I don't know what you would call it, like wealth mindset, growth mindset, pushing through mindset, because it is worth it. I wouldn't keep doing it if the rewards weren't worth it. And I'm not even saying it's all about money, but money makes your life easier. Every time we go through this big jump, usually a new big opportunity comes, and it's like, instead of working towards 100 grand goals or 200 grand goals, now we're working on $500,000 goals, $1 million goals, and because it makes our life better. We get a vacation, we get to eat whatever healthy food that we want to eat. We're not worried about when all of these medical bills come up, like they did with my first, getting $100,000 in debt with medical bills and being like, what are we going to do? Our life is over. We were in poor mindset then. We were doing the whole Dave Ramsey thing and bringing our budget down to zero. What kind of mindset is that, you guys? Versus a spending plan of what is it that we need to create and how do we build that? And I always sit and think, why is it that we keep pushing through and other people don't? And that is why I'm so passionate about what I do, because I don't want you to give up. I tell you my stories and I'm very real and raw and vulnerable, but also I'll be honest and I'll tell you too, yes, moments are going to come up where I feel and I'm mourning that child and I'm wishing I wouldn't have had that miscarriage. But I believe that everything happens for our higher good. I believe, and I can tell you, I'm not over the hospital part yet. I still have massive anger towards that. But guess what? I'm doing something about it. I'm talking to the people higher up in the hospital. I'm making sure this doesn't happen to another woman ever again. And they've already told me they're going to change their ER training for labor and delivery so that this does not happen again to another woman. And so it's like, and I'm staying in that and I'm making it happen and I'm making a change. But I could sit and I can dwell and I could play the victim in my circumstances. But I know, and you know too, my favorite song ever is, the unanswered prayer songs, because you don't understand what's happening in your life might really be, you need to be thankful for those unanswered prayers, for those things that are horribly happening in your life right now. Go back and look. I look at the time when I did get in that car wreck and I broke bones. I look at that time that Tab was in the hospital, allergic to all foods. It gave me the ability to help heal him, plus give other education to other moms going through the same thing. And he's now not allergic to any foods. And all of these things that have happened in my life, I'm like, wow, what a blessing. I wouldn't change it for the world. And so I know, because I've experienced that many times, from my husband being homeless in Vegas, from my son being in the hospital, from I could go on and on, losing out on different businesses, getting screwed over, like all these things. I look back now and I'm like, wow, what a freaking blessing. So I know, even though it's sad, even though, I'm a mom and I'm going to mourn this, but I don't have to sit and be sad for weeks on end. I can process for as long as I tell my mind I need to process. And then I get to move forward and I get to teach and help and motivate other people. That's how I move forward. The things that happen to you in your life are either because of a learning experience that you're not learning, you're not getting, so you're experiencing it over and over and over because you're not doing anything different about it, or it's for a reason that you're not going to see now, but I guarantee the universe will reveal later why that happened to you. There's things that happen. Trauma happens on all levels. And here's the thing. There's different levels of trauma. And all of us can say, like, I could say, well, at least I was only 12 weeks pregnant. I wasn't full term and had a stillborn. Like, trauma is trauma. And so for you, quit minimalizing your trauma, because the body experiences trauma the same. So don't minimalize your trauma, but don't sit in your trauma, Because here's the thing, you can process through while moving. And if I'm being honest, I believe that the universe or God is actually teaching you a lesson to help other people too. But you get to choose to be the light, or you get to choose to be the dark. When we didn't have money, and I used to complain about it all the time, we don't have money, what are we going to do? And we would fight and we would attack each other. I wasn't actually willing to change. I wasn't willing at that time to lose it all. It wasn't until I was like, you know what? Let's sell everything. Let's move to Vegas. Let's make a change. And this is why I'm passionate about money energy, because if you're struggling with money energy, if you're struggling with your emotional cycles or your physical cycles or your victimhood, it's probably because you're not willing to take the risk. Because this is what I wrote down when I was journaling. If life sucks for you, you're probably an obstacle thinker. I can't do it. We don't have the money for it. All of these, my spouse won't let me. All of these things that come up. And here's what I will tell you. I've been there. And living in obstacle and victimhood, like, because victimhood can sneak up on you very, very quickly. Living in that mindset for too long is going to do nothing but destroy you and make you live in pity city. And so I'm here to tell you, if you want your life to change, you're going to have to jump for it and make a risk. I wrote, you have to live it to actually experience it. I can tell you all day long, this is what I'm going through, and yes, I'm overcoming it. But until you've experienced that like massive sabotage and just pushing through anyways and seeing the reward, you won't be able to see what I'm trying to tell you. Like, it's really hard to explain because it's a feeling. All I know is what I've experienced. And what I've experienced is anytime I get mental, physical, or social sabotage, you guys, I've been publicly shamed. Go look at my book, Our Journey Through FPIES. Go look at all of the false reviews, because FPIES moms in this whole Facebook group, foundation crap, they didn't like that I was doing holistic healing. They didn't believe that a mom from Utah could actually help somebody else. And here's what I'm to tell you. I dealt with over 200 negative comments of calling me a baby killer, calling me all these things when I was going to have this TV show, this radio show. I was going to get huge. But here's what I say. I choose to be thankful, because there is evil and mean people out there that want to tear you down, that don't want to see you succeed. But here's what if all of this would have happened when I already had a TV show, when I already had a radio show? What if all this would have went down when things would have been different? Now, I get to find a different way to go about it. I get to find a different way to come back and succeed within that passion right there. But guess what? I believe I was being protected in that moment, because our angels are always looking out for us. Our angels are always here to protect us. But when bad things happen, many of you choose to shut down. And it breaks my heart, because of money, because of kids, because of your schedule, because of time. Like, I don't give a rat's what it is. You have something in you that needs to come out. You have something that you want to work towards. Quit playing the victim, because I could play a victim so hardcore right now, and people think I'm crazy that I'm over my miscarriage. It's not that I'm over it. It's that I choose to see the light over the negativity. I choose to see the fact that there's so much more that I get to teach people, and a bigger lesson that God wanted me to go through in this moment. That yes, it sucks in this humanly form, but on a spiritual level, it's probably one of the biggest blessings I'm ever going to go through, and I don't see it yet. So look at your circumstances right now around this Christmas time. I get it, you guys. There's so many people around the holidays that decide to commit suicide, that, decide to get divorced, that decide to choose this dark energy over this positive light. And here's what I will tell you. We all choose into dark energy at sometimes. I'm guilty of it. I have those moments. I have moments where dark thoughts and things take a hold of me. But it's what you choose to do. I've been telling my friends, Minky just hopped on. She's like been through the whole thing with me. We were pregnant together. We got pregnant in Costa Rica. We're gonna have these Costa Rican babies. See, this is where I get emotional, because in my heart and soul, I have these feelings, you guys, but also in my mind, I logically know that my spirit has a higher purpose for me, and that I get to serve other people at a higher level due to my negative experiences. And so if you're someone that's struggling right now, and I know I'm going on a rant, I want you to understand, and I wrote this down. Go listen to the unanswered prayer songs, because thank God for unanswered prayers. You never know. Look back at your life, find the evidence where things have went wrong, and you're like, wow, now I see why. So that when you're living in hard moments now, you get to say, this feels hard, this feels heavy, but I know, because I've experienced it before, so I have that knowing, I have that experience, I know. And I hope this isn't too deep for you guys and you guys are following me. If you're following me, let me know. If you're not, I'll hop off. But what I would say is, then you have that knowing to be like, I don't know what's on the other side, but I've been in similar experiences where hard things happen, and when I choose to keep pushing through, oh my God, the blessings that are on the other side. And so I'm just here to motivate you today and to tell you that not everybody is going to choose into the light. It's harder to choose into the light than it is to choose into the dark. But I want you to know that I'm here to support you if you need anything. And know that if I have a ton of women over in Expand Your Destiny that are going through the same similar experience. But you are not going to change playing victimhood and hanging out with your same group of negative people that support your pity party. Because here's what I will tell you. I have lots of people that are like, take all the time you need, just mourn, just process, just this. And I'm like, I can do that while moving. My people that have higher mindset, and it's not like levels, everybody's right, but it's just a different mindset. Keep going, girl. Keep spreading your message. Keep showing up, because that's where the true healing happens, when you're not sucked in where the devil wants you sucked in. So I love you guys. You guys are awesome. What I will tell you too that I wrote down, I wanted to make sure I didn't forget, is creation energy needs chaos to break it up to be able to actually birth itself. Think about it. A woman that is in conception, she goes through this process of, like growing a baby, getting the baby to where it needs to be, and then there's that moment of birth. There's that moment of chaos. There's that moment of pain. There's that moment of you don't think you're going to survive this. And instantly, when that baby comes out, you're instantly over it. Your body is instantly forgot about the pain. You've instantly, honestly, your body consciously you wouldn't have other kids if you could remember that. And so just remember, there's always this moment of chaos and then utter pain before growth happens. Every single time. You just get to choose into that. So I love you guys. You guys are awesome. Have an amazing day. And if you need anything, let me know.